My name is Janan Alhamdouni, and today we're going to go over a simple, organized outline on how to evacuate the mobile home community in Madison, Maine for a day, feed and hydrate everyone safely, protect those with medical and dietary needs, and do it in a way that minimizes scrambling, stress, and discomfort. This plan is built specifically around the 100 residents in the community and amenities in the Howe kitchen and premises for the likelihood of the winter thaw and subsequent flooding of the Kennebec River. The plans here are based on roughly 100 residents, from a 1-month-old baby to an 86-year-old neighbor, coming to HOW for about 24 hours, with the possibility that it could stretch to a second day. Considerations that I've specifically made are for the 4 babies under 1 year old, including one with a milk allergy, children and teens, including one with celiac disease, adults with type 2 diabetes, a resident with autism and strong food aversions, and one person living with end-stage renal disease who may need to be airlifted out of the flood if the flooding lasts longer than a day. And finally, 2 Somali families who potentially observe halal dietary practices and have language needs. As a dietitian, my goal is to make sure that every person can come here, eat safely, maintain their medications and routines as much as possible, and feel respected. I welcome any questions or thoughts that you have during this presentation. The first PDF outlines several requests of the community and a full breakdown of the menu for one day. In the Community Ask section, I have laid out what we're encouraging residents to do ahead of time so that the logistical burden isn't so tremendous when the flood sirens go off. Asks include storing camping-style cooking equipment at HOW from March 1st through the winter thaw so that we can quickly expand the current kitchen capacity if we need to. Encouraging residents with specific nutrition needs, like the non-compliant celiac teen, the person with ESRD, and the resident with autism, to keep clearly labeled, shelf-stable backup foods at HOW. Ask that every household prepare a run bag for each family member. This is important. This should include medications, essential documents, hygiene items, phone chargers, comfort items for children, and enough formula for each baby based on what a family normally uses. From an emergency preparedness standpoint, these run bags are critical. They keep responsibility and dignity in the hands of each of the community members while ensuring that, as a host site, the HOW is not trying to recreate someone's medicine cabinet overnight. From a nutrition and health perspective, they are our safety net. Medications, renal appropriate foods, allergy safe options, and preferred safe foods for our autistic resident arrive with the person, not as an afterthought. The second half of this PDF presents the one-day menu, which is designed to be shelf-stable or low-risk refrigerated, child-friendly and predictable, halal-appropriate, reasonably supportive of diabetes management, and realistic for a small kitchen cooking for 100 people. These foods are easy for both small children and older adults to chew, familiar to people with autism and food aversions, available in gluten-free versions for the celiac resident, paired with protein and fiber, such as peanut butter and fruit, to help curb blood sugar spikes for those with diabetes, and lunch and dinner rely on large pots of lentil soup and minestrone served over brown basmati rice, plus canned corn, Greek yogurt used as a sour cream substitute, as well as Kraft macaroni and cheese as a familiar and filling option. Additionally, the lentils and the basmati rice are culturally familiar for the Somali families and comforting for many others. Main meals can be cooked in large batches with your existing stove, pots, and a small amount of added equipment. Brown rice and legumes provide fiber and protein. Pairing them with yogurt adds extra protein and calories for those who may have gone without food before arriving. Additionally, water, tea, and instant coffee are available at all times, along with sugar-free pudding and jello for residents needing lower sugar options, protein and snack bars, and other easy and familiar snack foods. The next PDF includes the emergency grocery list budget. This sheet breaks down each food item by servings per unit, price per unit, units needed to feed 100 people for that 24-hour period, where it should be stored, so the pantry or the refrigerator, and how long it will safely keep unopened. This list gives us a reliable amount and cost so that you know that investing in these specific shelf-stable foods and rotating them annually means that you can reliably feed the community during a flood evacuation. The next PDF is the emergency supplies list and budget, which covers the non-food items. The main item I want to mention now are the water coolers and water jugs. They are a higher price item. The number of 5-gallon jugs of water was calculated using the standard guideline of about half to 1 gallon of drinking water per person per day plus cooking needs. We can go through each of these last 3 PDFs in detail after you've had some time to review this. My main objective today is to instill that this plan is meant to build preparedness gradually. We have the time to do so. You don't have to buy everything at once, and this can be phased over a few months. Prioritizing the longest shelf life food items first and then rotating supplies at the end of each flood season by using them in regular HOW events and replenishing with fresh stock is the right way to do this. The next PDF is the Health Plan SOP, which answer 4 main questions. First, when do we activate this plan? When a flood warning or evacuation order is issued, residents come to HOW with their run bags. Parents bring formula, special diet residents bring their backup foods. 2, who's doing what? To prevent chaos, we pre-identify 2 to 3 resident leaders for food distribution, meal prep, and sanitation cleanup. We identify any residents with medical training, including nurses, EMTs, retired providers, who can support health-related decisions. 3, how do we support medical needs? Each resident checks in on arrival. Medications stay with them in their own run bags. Medical leaders will be available if there are questions about dosing, interactions, or missed doses. For the resident with ESRD, we document when the last dialysis occurred and monitor for symptoms. If the stay will exceed 24 hours, we'll initiate the airlift plan and consider whether other high-risk residents, such as the very elderly or people with complex disabilities, should also leave with the airlift. And 4, how do we provide safe sustenance? The SOP spells this out. The menu is fully halal compatible, so the Somali families can simply eat from the same buffet as everyone else without worry or stigma. The baby with the milk allergy will have their own formula on hand and stocked in the HOW pantry. The gluten-free bread and Cheerios are reserved first for the resident with celiac disease, and once they have access to peanut butter and fruit at each meal if they cannot safely eat the pasta or some of the cereals. And the resident with autism has access to familiar safe foods, whether that's Cheerios, toast, peanut butter, applesauce. Their family should also know that they are welcome to bring additional preferred items. Residents with type 2 diabetes are encouraged in a non-punitive way to pair starches with protein and fiber, and that sugar-free desserts are available as an option. And the ESRD resident relies on their renal-appropriate run bag foods because the communal menu is not engineered for strict potassium and phosphorus restrictions. The next PDF is the emergency cooking and cleaning schedule. Main roles include a lead cook, who should be someone comfortable with running the kitchen, cooking rice in a stock pot, heating lentils and soup, and coordinating with the buffet line. Assistant cooks and prep should be residents who can stir, measure, open cans, prepare macaroni and cheese, and set out fruit and snacks. A buffet assembler should be volunteers who can keep the line moving, watch for spills, and help guests find appropriate options, especially those with any language or literacy barriers. And special diet support. Ideally, these would be volunteers with some health knowledge who can quietly and discreetly help people with diabetes, celiac disease, or allergies identify which foods are safest for them. Dishwashers and stockers. Those should be people who are physically able to wash pots, wipe counters, refill beverage stations, and take out the trash. The schedule also spells out when each of these groups should be active. My priority here is both maintaining hygiene and maintaining structure, as this should reduce anxiety. When residents see people in clearly defined roles, wearing simple badges or tags, following a predictable routine, breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, it will be easier for them to relax despite the stressful situation. It communicates that you guys know what you're doing, that they are taken care of, and that they're not alone as everybody is figuring this out. It also gives people an opportunity to contribute. Residents who might have otherwise felt powerless in a flood situation can volunteer as prep helpers, stockers, or buffet hosts. That sense of purpose is itself a protective factor in a stressful environment. The next PDF is the Flood Emergency Preparedness Tips Handout, meant to be handed out as soon as possible and designed for refrigerators, bulletin boards, and social media. This is a summary of the plan and a call to action, including how to prepare an emergency run bag for each family member, medications, dietary essentials, formula for babies under 12 months, hygiene needs, phone chargers, and warm clothing or security items for children. How to stay informed, monitor weather forecasts, pay attention to HOW messages about rainfall and flood risk, and check in on neighbors. How to contribute to preparedness by donating shelf-stable foods and formula to the HOW pantry, offering skills in cooking or teaching, or storing unused camping gear here for the season. It also highlights a January community disaster preparedness meeting, which is where you'll invite residents to learn the plan, sign up for roles, and ask questions before anything happens. And the final PDF is an evaluation tool. This is a short survey for residents 16 and older who stay at HOW during a flood and will give us some lessons learned and help us do better each year. From an emergency management standpoint, this is a quality improvement loop. Each flood season, you'll have data, real feedback from the community about what worked and what didn't. From a nutrition and health standpoint, it also helps us track whether people felt that they had enough to eat and drink, felt that they understood which foods were safe for their medical conditions, felt comfortable with the hygiene and food safety practices in the kitchen and on the buffet line. And over time, those responses will let us refine the menu, adjust portions, adjust volunteer staffing, and improve communication with specific groups, such as our Somali families or residents with chronic illness. In terms of next steps, my recommendations are as follows. Review and approve these documents as your foundational HOW flood nutrition and health plan. Identify a small core planning team, including at least one person with medical experience and a few people comfortable in the kitchen to own these tools. Begin gradual procurement of the shelf-stable foods and supplies using the budgets as a checklist. Schedule the January Community Disaster Preparedness meeting, where all can introduce the run bag concept, explain the menu, and invite signups for the various volunteer roles. I'll be at this meeting once we've got it in the books. After the first real-life activation, use the evaluation tool to gather feedback and to adjust. I'm happy to walk through any of these documents in more detail and to help train your core team so that they feel as confident using them as I do. Thanks for your time.